doom, ga, doom, doom, ga. When you're pushing that same amount of air, the same density, you're mixing yourself right from here, right from ground zero. So the musicians, the bass player standing next to you, feels good. Front of house mixer doesn't have to goose anything. Your instrument sounds good from right here. You know what I mean? So you can't build your building starting on the 10th floor. You have to have your foundation. And right there, that's all you need to get the party started before anyone plays a note. You do that, the ladies get on the dance floor. The guys are buying drinks, they get out on the dance floor. The manager of the club is happy, your band's rehired again. So it all starts from here. You with me? All right. Another thing I noticed is that a lot of the students, when I say, give me a really strong backbeat, don't get into their show busy, just give me a good strong sound, a sound out of the drum. Almost every one of them either played the drum with the tip of the stick in the center of the drum or sort of off-center. And that's fine. It's all valid. On a 14-inch snare drum, you've got 14 inches of real estate to get a million sounds. But then I'd say, look where most of the stick marks are on my head. It's my snare drum at home. And most of the stick marks is about an inch north of the center of the drum. So why is that? We're taught that the center of the drum is the loudest part of the drum. I'm here to debunk that. Now I'm talking basic 2 and 4 rim shot playing here. If you were to move the tip of your stick about an inch north and get a deeper rim shot back here, listen to the sound difference. I'll play 4 bars in the center and 4 bars up north, what I'm talking about. 2, 3. All valid sounds, but did you hear the drum just go open up a little bit more? So much like a guitarist might be playing and open up their note values, we can do that on the snare drum, just with the backbeat going from a verse to a chorus. Minimal effort, no extra, crashing, telegraphing, anything. All of a sudden the drum sounds a little bit bigger. So those are things that we can do, being sound driven, letting the sound that you want, drive what you're playing. A lot of guys get caught up in technique. Well, technique's a good thing. I spent a long time on technique. But how does it sound is the ultimate thing. If you're doing a recording, no one cares that you have like this sweet molar, or how does it sound? Be sound driven. And not to contradict myself, let's move on to technique for a second. People always want to know how to play fast and quickly. Well, to be able to play... I normally set up sideways when I do a clinic. I don't know if you can see any of that. To be able to play quickly, you have to be loose. You can't be tense. That's another kind of sound. Now, let's start by being loose. My normal grip and technique would have a little gap, a hole in between the first finger and the thumb. Why? Does anyone play that way? Raise your hand if you got that down. All right. Why is that? All these muscles are loose. The moment the thumb and the first finger touch, these muscles are tight. You can do it right there in the air. You feel these muscles and do that? They're tight. So when you see a guy playing... and you see someone doing that for 10 minutes, and you wonder, how can I do that? Well, if you can't, chances are you're holding the stick like this. Or a lot of young kids are taught this thing. If you play like this, you're setting yourself up for a huge disadvantage as you progress as a drummer. Nice and easy. Your hand is resting like that. Put the stick in there. Boom. Space. Okay? I'm totally loose when I'm doing that. Now, if I wanted it to sound more urgent or tense, I'll give it some muscle. But I can't do that for very long. This I could do all day long. But if I wanted to sound like... One's a jackhammer, the other one's a butterfly. Again, being sound-driven, using the technique of the sound that you want. Having more than one way to skin a cat, and being able to do other things. On the first Methods of Mechanics DVD, I talk about the shank tip on the hi-hat. So even if I'm playing at a slow rate, that still sounds good. If I want to play it faster, and I can do that all day long because with this motion and a little dip in the wrist, it's like a cobra striking. And my arm is feeling this. And I can do that all day long thanks to that motion. So, again, being sound driven, that sounds like a shaker. Chicka, 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 a nice musical recordable sound. Sounds better than this. It's different than... different things. So, those are some things that I noticed that I benefited from by teaching other people and going, huh. And I look at it as I'm a coach trying to get you to sound better on your instrument, getting better sounds from the instrument. So that's my spiel. And now I'd like to turn the floor over to you fine people and see what you would like to talk about. And what can I help you with? We have our first contestant over there. Come on down. You're the first contestant on The Price is Right.
Yeah, I was wondering if you ever had a session that you were hired to do, and because of the artist or the producer, they were asking something of you that you found difficult, or you couldn't get what they were wanting, and it creates a frustrating situation. How do you get through mentally something like that, or how do you adapt to what they're asking of you to get through a situation like that?
I mean, when you're hired as a drummer, we're basically in the service industry, so we have to be willing to truly want to give them what they want. You have to really be willing and want to please the artist, please the producer, please the person who's signing the check. You want